We're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
Brigadier General Dan Hickman is joining us. We're talking about the war experience and what some of the military deal with post-traumatic stress syndrome. General, what are some of the ways it shows up?
Agitation, overreaction to loud noises, being over-controlling, you know, it manifests itself into families as well. I mean, the families have their own transition, and then when dealing with the person who wants to be isolated, needs.
There's been a lot of talk about the numbers of veterans that end up as homeless people. Do you think there's do you think that's a reflection of PTSD? PTSD?
Actually, I don't. I think you know, I've seen some research on Vietnam veterans, and actually, on average, compared to their general population, they have done better on average as a group. Not to say there aren't.
As assimilating back, you mean they've done better?
Not assimilating back, just in life in general. You know, being housed and home.
But there's vast numbers in the military that aren't affected by that disorder. What do you think makes the difference for those who find a hard time navigating in the civilian world?
I think people are different. You know, I had a situation when I was in Vietnam where we came under fire, and how we got out of it, I don't know, but bullets were flying all around, and my co-pilot at the time was screaming, "Oh my God," and just lost it. And that was the last flight he ever made. He never got back in a cockpit.
And that was just the type of people.
Right. And
how you were compared to how he was. Right.
Doesn't say I'm a better person or anything. In fact, he went on. He's a college professor and has had a great career, and we still talk. But that was his last day in combat.
He realized.
Yeah, it was just he was not emotionally prepared for that. You know, few minutes. It really was a relatively short time. And
you stayed calm, cool, and collected, and focused.
I was scared to death.
You were.
Yeah.
But it didn't impair.
Right.
Your ability to do what needs to be done.
Right. I mean, I'll be frank with you. I was having hot flashes. You know.
While it was happening.
Yeah. I mean, I was scared to death. But it's just, you know, you're so close to the edge of what a human can stand at times that, you know, different people react to it differently, and it doesn't make them better or worse. But you know, different people, you know, and you don't know. You don't know. I mean, you can have.
If you could know, if there was a test or a profile, do you think people like that should be excluded from combat?
Yeah, I mean, if you could somehow, I don't know, genetically or psychologically
do a profile,
or profile them, that would be, you know, because as we were saying earlier, you want the most effective team you can have. I mean, to fight your wars.
Is there a statistical difference between men and women dealing with?
In terms of.
That
I don't know. I've seen some women who are pretty combative.
Well, what I mean is dealing with post-traumatic stress.
I've seen some statistics on that, and you know, I don't know if there's anything conclusive. What you do find, women have historically been kept out of combat units, but in Iraq, anytime you're on the, I mean, there are stresses. You can have all sorts of stresses. Anytime you're on the road in Iraq or Afghanistan, you're at risk. I mean, you're at high risk because that's where most of our casualties come from, is IEDs. So you could be a woman in a supply unit or a combat engineer unit, or you could be a man in an infantry unit. Your threat's the same, and so they're.
Are there benefits readily available now for veterans dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder?
Yes. there's you know, there are great units or great organizations like the Citizen Soldier Support Program we have. The VA has done quite a bit.
The
of
VA
research.
has, and they have. Has the military been resistant to recognizing PTSD?
Initially, if you had any, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, if you had any, if you ever so much as talked to a psychiatrist, then you were at risk. Your career was at risk. So we, would typically suck it up and try to, this is.
So if you were having difficulty and you went and talked to someone, that information was not private.
Well,
it was shared with the military.
You became suspect. I mean, you became suspect. So having issues.
Is that still in place?
No, I think the military is much more. We I can't speak for the military, but using some of the drugs they use to sedatives, things like that. I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you which ones, but they're much more open to people having to have some support group, some support person, a psychiatrist, or even to the point of taking drugs.
Then there's another side of the coin, and I've seen some interviews about this, and I've done some research on it, about people getting addicted to that war environment, the adrenaline rush they get, the high of the whole experience, which is the opposite of PTSD, which is people that can't deal with it. These are people, I heard a story, one-to-one, told to me about a man who was in a waiting room waiting for his first son to be born and could not think about anything but going back to Iraq. Have you heard of people that have dealt with war addiction?
Yeah, well, I have known one person, I think, that was maybe addicted out of the thousands that I've known, and that was in Vietnam. I think, and to be war addicted is to be, I mean, that would border on insanity of some sort, because it's like the catch-22 things you saw. If you like it, then you must be crazy. But I will say that what a soldier or a Marine or a sailor, whatever, is addicted to is that at some point that becomes your family. So you come home on leave, and I can see where a soldier might be home on leave. His real family is maybe having a child or something, and as big as that is, he's still got this other family that's pulling him back, and that's what he's being pulled back to, I think, or she, is the family that has been their family and their support group through all this trauma. And so, in rare cases, maybe.
We're out of time. General, thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you.
And talking about Don't Ask, Don't Tell, this is an interesting adjunct. Next week, we'll talk to the first openly gay president of the North Carolina Council of Churches. You'll meet Stan Kimmer on Byline next week. I'm Don Ansell. Thanks for watching.
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning as we explore the issues that concern you.